I don't know how long I spent in that distorted world. Minutes, hours, days. The space around me seemed to shift. The corridors grew longer. The walls seemed closer and the air thickened like jelly. I slowly backed away, but my neighbor's footsteps followed me. His smile never faded. "Don't try to leave," he hissed, his voice scraping like rusty metal. "You're already part of this place." I bolted deeper into the apartment, hoping to find another exit. The rooms kept changing. The corridors twisted into strange spirals, and the walls seemed to whisper in my ear. "Back, back, back." I reached a door, but there was no stairwell behind it, just another corridor, even narrower and darker. I turned left, then right, but the apartment never ended. It felt like I was wandering through an endless labyrinth. Suddenly I noticed movement in the corner. Something stood there in the dark. The figure vaguely resembled a person, but its limbs were too long, and its head hung at an unnatural angle. The creature took a step forward. Its joints cracked like breaking branches. I spun around and sprinted in the opposite direction. I don't remember how long I kept running. Sometimes I thought I heard my neighbor's voice behind me, calm as if telling a joke. "Run, run." But no one ever gets out. At some point, I stumbled into a room that looked almost normal. A desk lamp stood on the table, casting a warm, almost comforting glow. I shut the door behind me and slumped against the wall. "Help me," I whispered, not even sure who I was asking. And then I saw it. The book. The same one my neighbor had been holding. It lay on the table. I knew I shouldn't touch it, but I had no choice. I stepped closer and opened it. On the page was that same strange rune, black, as if scorched into the paper. Beneath it were lines in an unfamiliar language. Yet, as I stared at them, I somehow understood their meaning. To leave, pay the price. Pay the price. But what did that mean? "You can't change anything," my neighbor's voice growled. I turned sharply. He stood in the doorway, his figure now taller, his skin gray and wrinkled like old fabric. His eyes glowed with a dim yellow light. "This place feeds on fear and lives," he said. "You can leave, but someone else must take your place." He stepped forward. "It's either you or someone else." And that's when I realized the apartment wasn't just a trap. It was a place of sacrifice. Everyone who ended up here either died or lured someone else inside. That's how my neighbor had survived for so long. "Did you really think I've been living here for nothing?" He sneered. "I paid my price. Now it's your turn." I looked at the book. The words on the page shifted. Now they spelled out a name. My name. "Sign it, and I'll leave," the neighbor whispered, holding out a pen with a black, tar-like tip. I closed my eyes. If I signed, I'd escape. But someone else, someone innocent, would walk into this trap instead. I remembered the footsteps I'd heard behind the wall. The neighbor who only seemed strange but had spent years luring people here. How many lives had he claimed? In that moment, I realized there was another way. Grabbing the book, I tore the rune-covered page into tiny shreds. The air around me shuddered, as if the entire world was trembling. The neighbor screamed, not in pain, but in pure rage. His body cracked like porcelain, and thick black smoke poured from the fractures. "You can't," he rasped. "This won't stop." But I was already running. The corridors no longer twisted. I could see the light ahead. I burst out onto the stairwell, slammed the door behind me, and collapsed to the floor, gasping for air. The neighbor was gone. Since then, no one has lived in that apartment. Sometimes, when I pass by its door, I hear a faint rustling sound from inside. But now I know. As long as no one lets that thing out, it will stay trapped in there, and I will never go near that door again. Never.